Well, today's video is on how to change the Traxxas TRX4 Pinion gear. That's because now I've fit the 2.2 tyres into the car, the motor is running just a little bit warmer than normal because these tyres are taller, so it's having to do a little bit more work. So I'm going to downsize the gearing. I'm actually going to the 9-tooth pinion, which is the lowest one you can get on the car. Now, traditionally when you're changing your pinion gears on a lot of RC model cars, you have an thing where you space them together, you look at it, is it good enough, and then you put a piece of paper between it and run it through to see how tight the gear is. Well, Traxxas have changed the whole game with regard to that, because on the inside of the TRX4 gearbox, the motor mounting plate is like this. If you can see that diagram, I'm going to show you the real thing in a minute. It's got holes in it, and the position of these holes relates to the gear, and there's a list of all the gears in relation to the positions. So the one I'm going to be using is a 9-tooth pinion, and on the chart here, that's position A. So I'm going to fit the 2 motor mount screws into position A on here. So I'm going to take the motor out, take it off the plate, and I'm going to fit it back in with the 2 screws through in position A. And that means when I put it back in, the gear will be exactly matched. No more faffing around putting that piece of paper in between the gears. You get an exact match with this setup. They're moving to this on a lot of the new cars. They've done it with the Traxxas 4 2.0 VXL. I've also met with the new e-Revo that is sat over there, so it's definitely an up and coming thing. I guess if you think about it, it saves them money in the long run. Why does it save them money, Rich? Well, if you change the pinion gear and you get the mesh wrong and it runs too tight and the thing gets hot and it fries the electrics, if it's still in the first month's warranty, you're going to phone Traxxas up saying the thing's burnt out, and they're going to then send you a new motor or ESC or both. So it saves them money in the long run. It's also much more convenient for you. Anyway, let's see how to change the Traxxas TRX4 Pinion. As ever guys, if you find this video useful, then do consider subscribing. This is the Traxxas part number that you need, but I'll put a link to it below the video. Just going to quickly open that. And you might want, and if you've changed the 2.2 tyres and you've not downsized the gearing, then you might want to think about it, because definitely put an extra load on your motor. First of all, I've got my pinion. I'm just very lightly going to put that screw in there because I want to put a bit of Loctite on it, but also in the meantime I don't want to lose that screw on the bench. Okay, first things first, remove both motor wires. Then you've got 2 screws to remove. 2 screws to remove, first of all on the motor, one here and one here. I'm going to put those 2 screws safely to one side. Sorry, in my haste I should also point out that there is a 3rd screw located on the top here. Now, at that stage, the whole assembly should just squeeze out. Let me just take a bit of care to not lose that screw. Okay, now you've got your motor, comes out nice and free, simple as this. Just push that away, and there are the holes that I said about. They're all labelled alphabetically, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, etc. and the same on that side. So, to change your pinion gear over, when you've taken your old one off and you're getting ready to fit your new one, you simply need to look on this chart against the size of the pinion. So I'm looking at a size 9 pinion on here. I've got the 45 tooth spur, which is the stock one on there, because I want the torque and the low down grunt, not interested in the speed of the lower spur gear. So I need position A. So in a minute the screws are on in position C for this pinion, so I'm going to remove this pinion, undo the 2 screws and fit them back through the A holes. Excuse the pun there guys. Okay, I'm going to take the pinion off. I'm just going to keep that nice and safe with the grub screw there. So now all I'm going to do is undo these 2 screws at some point there, and they will remain in the mount. It just makes them a bit easier to deal with. Okay, so I'm going to pay careful attention to the way the motor come out of there, because you want the same kind of orientation when you put it back on, so the power leads are in the right place. Now I can fully remove the screws. Went back on through position A, so that one's going to go in there. I'm just going to go through in there. So there we are now with the screws in position A. Time to put them back onto the motor. And when it comes to putting them back on the motor, you can't really go wrong, as unlike a lot of motors, this one's only got 3 holes in the thing, so you're only going to be able to fit that on one particular way. line that up loosely. Spin it in by hand if I can. And even faster if you use the right driver, Rich. Nice and tight on both of them. Okay, when fitting the new pinion on, you just want to make sure this flat side on the motor lines up with the grub screw. I'm sure a lot of you will know that, but bear in mind, some people watching this may be doing it for the very first time. Okay, I'm going to line that up. I'm now going to put a blob of thread lock on here and tighten that up. Put a little bit of thread lock on that, so I'm just going to loosely tighten it until it touches for the minute, because I need to ensure that it's set at the right height in order to marry up with the spur gear. And as you can see, it's a little bit too tight there. It's just clearing the end, but only just. I have a feeling that might be rubbing, so I just need to move it down a couple of mil. So while the whole system takes the guesswork out of exactly where to position your pinion on there, you still need to manually set the height of the gear to ensure that it marries up okay with the spur gear. Anyway, that's going to go back in there. All being well, simply just pops back on over the top. A little bit of a wiggle and a jiggle. You're better off putting the base of the motor in first. Bit of wiggle and jiggling around, and that's down in there, nice and firm on that. Now, if I wasn't filming this, you could probably do this job in, I guess, 4 or 5 minutes. It's relatively straightforward to do. And that is how to change a Traxxas TRX4 pinion gear. All you've got to do now is connect your motor leads back together and you're ready to go again. Anyway, I hope you found that video as to how to change the Traxxas TRX4 pinion useful. It's far simpler now Traxxas have moved this modern system. Anyway, do tell me your thoughts on the new Traxxas system with a hole. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you like it? Or do you not for any reason? Most interested to hear people's feedback on that, but it's far simplified things to my mind. Anyway, as ever guys, if you like this video, then don't forget to subscribe.
We hope you liked this video. If you did, please click on the circle image to subscribe. And if you hit subscribe, then don't forget to hit that little notifications bell next to it.